Donald Trump's message, in some respects, can be called a populist or
Sure.
nationalist
Absolutely.
movement.
Yeah.
And he was elected on with 47% of the popular vote.
Yeah.
So when is he going to start talking to everyone and not just his base? Because right now it kind of appears that he's just talking to his base. When is he going to broaden his message?
Well, he could do like everybody else does, and once you get elected, you say, "Forget what I told you during the campaign. I'm going to now start playing nice, and I'm going to cooperate with everything, and I'm basically going to administer the status quo." And maybe under the prior president, we had the administration of the status quo, but with a very marked, a very pronounced social agenda and a very pronounced drift to the left. Donald Trump is not going to do that. He is remaining true to what he is and to what he believes, and he is, without question, talking to the people. And, you mentioned the popular vote. They didn't even campaign in California. If he had campaigned in California, it might well have been 50-50 or even 51-49. But the main thing is he concentrated on winning the electoral vote, which, whether we like it or not, is the American system. And it's partly because we're not a republic. We're a federation of quasi-independent states. So right now, I think he's hewing true to the message, and this business of, or this sentiment of being fed up with big government, fed up with all these politically correct movements, fed up with excessive regulation, fed up basically with Big Brother, and returning to greater economic freedom and greater personal freedom. This is a global movement. It's probably going to hit China at some point too, but right now it's all over Europe, and almost every elected European government is under heavy pressure from populist candidates. In France, Marine Le Pen, she isn't going to win the election, but she's going to gain a lot of seats in the French parliament and have a lot of influence. And in Holland, it looks like the populist candidate may well win. So this is a generalized movement, and I think he's absolutely correct that he's remaining true to it. What Donald Trump is betting, and I think Tom Hanks said it best. He said, "I didn't vote for him. I don't particularly like him, but my hope is that he'll be so successful in his policies that at the next election I'll find myself voting for him." So what he's doing is, while he's got both houses of Congress, or both Senate and the House of Representatives, and is now able to appoint a fifth or a seventh Supreme Court, or eighth, I don't know. At any rate, the tie-breaking Supreme Court judge. And by the way, as an aside, it's a shame that the Supreme Court has become just another arm of the political system. So if there's a Democratic administration, you appoint left-wing liberal judges. If it's a conservative administration, you appoint conservative judges, so that the Supreme Court becomes just another voting political body. That is not what the Founding Fathers intended. The Supreme Court is supposed to stand aside and above all that, but we've managed to pervert it. At any rate, I think he's doing the right thing. If his policies work, and we have an economic revival in this country, we have abundant energy, not necessarily so-called dirty or traditional energy, but cost-effective clean energy. And a lot of Americans are back at work in well-paying middle-class jobs. The education system gets fixed, which is one of the
which we're going to get to in a second.
I can't wait to talk about the education system. So I think he's doing the right thing. This is way too early to start playing to the whole population, because he's got an agenda. And we've had too many presidents of both parties who have tried to kind of manage the thing. They weren't leaders, they were managers. They administered the status quo. And in many instances, the United States has fallen farther and farther behind. A lot of people think that the United States has the highest standard of living in the world. We don't. That was at one point we did. The institution that keeps track of this thing, a couple of years ago we were in 7th place. Now we're in 8th place and sinking further. So when Donald Trump says, I want to make America great again, that resonates with a lot of people.
Well, do you make America great again by deregulating everything? Aren't a measure of regulations necessary in order for us to live in a balanced society?
Well, sure. I mean, a modicum of regulation is necessary. But if you look at both Europe and the United States, industry and business and healthcare and food processing and agriculture is saddled with a thicket of regulations that it's almost impossible to see your way through. So people look at that, they want to start a business or they want to do something. They are not hindered by an absence of capital or an absence of, in many cases, also an absence of skilled people, but they basically look at everything they have to comply with and they say, holy smoke, I'm going to spend a fortune on lawyers, environmental specialists, regulation specialists, tax specialists, et cetera, before I can even start this business. So we all agree that there have to be some rules, but they've got to be sensible. And what we've got is rulemaking that was heavily politicized, and it's gotten to the point where it's absolutely stifling. And again, this is not just an American thing. This is also a European thing, and it's part of this reaction of frustration on the part of the population.